evening, everybody! As the great Sardonyx would say, my name is Miss Bone Daddy here with a new segment I like to call Finding Diamonds in the Rough. And before you guys ask, sorry for the long delay, school, whatnot, and other excuses that you don't really care about. You're just glad I'm here. Haha. Alright, we get down to it. I'm going to be reviewing Steven Universe facts because as of recently, and real quick, if you haven't been up to date to the Wanted special that just aired, or not caught up all the way, what's wrong with you? Why are you spiritually depriving yourself? Go and watch Steven Universe and then catch up and then come back and talk to me. Are you ready? Alright, let's go. So, what I really wanted to go over is kind of what Zircon pointed out, and when she explained the whole theory that the only way for Pink Diamond to get out of her palanquin is because someone of higher authority had to convince her to come out, like a diamond. The way she explained it, it made like, wow, I feel stupid for not noticing this or thinking so clearly. So the whole point of this series is to look at those details that usually go overlooked, so that when it comes to like a trial, we can be like, hey, it doesn't make sense. And then we can piece those things together and look as smart as Zircon did. Right before she poofed, of course. So I was originally going to kind of think about, could it have been White Diamond? That's who I'm leaning towards. Because I don't think it's Yellow Diamond, because that'd be too one note for her character. And she seems like she may know something, but she wasn't the one who was in charge of everything. And Blue just seems too devoted and too heartbroken over the fact that Pink is gone. Like, she was too much of a devoted sister to even think about plotting to kill Pink. And she was even wondering, how'd you do it? It had to be a sword. Because that's what she heard. And I was kind of thinking around the lines that maybe White Diamond did it, but she needed to get both parties were involved, both Pink Diamond and Rose Quartz, leader of the rebellion. As Zircon said, she was already a criminal by this time, so there are no other Rose Quartz in her court. So she had to plan to get them in the right place at the right time in Korea. So I was starting to think along the lines that maybe she may have captured our Pearl, something like that, or convinced her, threatened her, anything to convince her to work with her for just this moment. And it's like, hey, you want your rebellion to mean something, you want to protect your Rose Quartz, then you're going to make sure she's here at this time. And I'm going to make sure Pink Diamond's here at this time. And as we've known Pearl, she can be kind of sketchy sometimes. She's willing to keep secrets, and she knows we've seen her be affected over the mentioning of Pink Diamond on multiple occasions. We have to know she is involved in some way or another. So that's why I was thinking maybe she did conspire with White Diamond in a lesser of two evils kind of thing. So I was thinking maybe that was the case. And then White Diamond's like, hey, Pink, meet me here because we need to discuss something. And here's what caught me though. They were discussing that the shattering was witnessed by Pink Diamond's entourage. But at the same time, Zircon pointed out, well, where was everyone to stop Rose Quartz? You can't have both the fact that no one was there to stop Rose Quartz and also have an eyewitness like Eyeball saying she saw the whole thing. Unless Eyeball says more. But we highly doubt that since she's so salty and bitter towards Steven. So this was rumbling in my mind. So this doesn't make any sense. So when I was thinking about this theory, I texted a friend. I was saying, hey, I'm getting confused about this theory. I need your help. And she says, read it to me. And I was like, pretty long. And I explained to her what I just explained right now. And then she goes on to reply, and let's call it fresh former. People who know her, you know her. And people who don't, you can look for her. Alright, she kind of went off on some weird thing because she is a firm believer that Yellow fought Pink. These are messages she sent me. And I'm going to do it back and forth because this is crazy. Alright. I think Yellow fought Pink. Pink wanted to preserve Earth, that's why she made Zeus. But Yellow wanted resources. So Pink used her pearl and Yellow used her pearl to fight each other. And I don't even know where she's getting that. Then Rose got in the way because she loved Pearl and fought Yellow. But Yellow used some kind of transforming technique to pose as Rose Quartz, and she shattered Pink. Because only diamonds can shatter diamonds. Now that's an interesting point, that last part, because everything else, I've never seen a fact that like the diamonds even think of transforming like that. But yes, that's true. It's always been emphasized that only diamonds can shatter diamonds. But I am an avid watcher of theories like the Round Table, Slice of Otaku, AJ Universe, who I highly recommend because they're very insightful. They've done this for a long time and they're very good. So going off them, I wrote, yes, that's true, but I think Rose used her sword in a different way. And I asked her, do you remember when Steven and Connie went to the armory? She completely dismissed the question. Bismuth created Rose's sword. Rose's sword was able to shatter because that's how it was created. My love, you are wrong. It was actually the exact opposite. It was made to poof them, but never shatter the gem. That's why the breaking point. I wasn't able to text this to her, but as I'm thinking back on it now, that's what the breaking point was. That will change everything because that actually shattered. That was the only weapon that the crystal gems had that would have shattered gems. But Rose wouldn't allow it. That's why she bubbled bismuth. But let me continue. Like, okay, now do you remember the shooting head? It shot ice, fire, and lightning. Yellow shot lightning during the trial, so that means the head was a training device to dodge diamond powers. But Steven and Connie used the sword to deflect the fireball back to the head and destroy it. Rose would most likely have done that to shatter Pink. And if you do process of elimination, Pink would probably be fire, since her gems, such as Amethyst, have fire powers. And if you never notice, when Amethyst does her sonic powers, she has fire around her. She sometimes burps fire and she eats fire french fries. And she agreed. I think I can see that. Have you noticed that the diamonds have the same symbols as the hazard signs in the lab? And that's actually pretty interesting. That actually would make sense. And it's just like, oh yeah, yellow is electrical, pink is fire, blue is technically liquid and chemical, so white must be sharp objects. Like, that could be something for another video. Leave your thoughts in the comments. I reiterized to her what my concerns were about either having no one there to defend Pink or having witnesses there. When I mentioned it to her, she says, and this is where we go down the rabbit hole. She wrote, unless they were under mind control and convinced to forget. I took a breath. I'm like, personally myself, I have never seen an indication that diamonds have mind control powers. And she says, they don't need to. Look at how they rule. Pointing out to her, she's like, yeah, that's called authority, not mind control. You can call it brainwashing, but that's about it. It's like, well, then it's brainwashing. Look at Blue. She controlled everyone when she cried. And then I point out to her that it wasn't intentional. It was empathetic, not mental. I can tell her, like, if you cried, I would cry because I love you. And not because you're controlling me, because it's a wave of empathy, a wave of emotion. But think about it. When she cried, the whole room turned blue. Everyone teared up. The lawyers looked confused as to why they were tearing up. And while that makes sense, that's true, yes, that was an uncontrollable reaction. I think only Gems experienced. Because either Lars because he was in the bubble or because he's human. You gotta remember also Greg never cried when he was around Blue. So maybe it's just a Gem thing. My retort was, well, that may be her ability. If all of them have emotional powers like that, then that wouldn't include memory because memory isn't an emotion. Maybe. They have a special song to make one forget. This isn't Legend of Zelda, where the diamonds learn a song of forgetfulness in their ocarina. She seems to really be insistent on this. She's like, you never know. Rebecca Sugar likes to incorporate a lot of other games and shows as references in Steven Universe. It's like, I know, but she gave some foreshadowing way in the advance before just throwing in a new concept. Exactly. So we are linking the song that shatters gems to a small subgenre songs that could alter their memory. Besides, didn't Steven once play a video game that was like Zelda? And I'm like, what song shatters gems? We have never seen that. We've never heard of such a thing. And then she's referencing the bright lights. Like the bright light in the episode with Centipede. She said there was a bright light and sound and then everything went blank. That's corruption, not shattering. She didn't shatter, she got the equivalent of brain damage. And then she was like, okay, to me, corruption is just as bad as shattering. You end up dying and come back as a monster, not who you were. And I try to correct her. This is what I try to do with these videos, is try to lend a helping hand for the misinformed. I try to tell her, you poof, then come back as corruption. Of course it's awful, but they're not dead. Centipedo was able to find her crew and be happy in their ship for the time being until Steven figures out how to completely hear her. You can't heal shattered gems! And then she doesn't want to believe me. She's like, who says you can't? I mean, you get all the pieces and put it back together, slowly, patch it up with Steven spit, And there you go. He brought Lars back to life. You could never find all the pieces. If you shatter your computer, you can't fix it with glue. That's what they basically are. And he wasn't a gem. He's an organic being like Lion. Lars may have popped an eye, but he was in one piece. One piece. Some may be lucky enough to find all their shards. Look at the cluster. Sooner or later, they'll find all of them. It's like, those weren't from the same gems. That was a force fusion of different shards. If you blew off your face and then the doctors put another face they found nearby on you, would you think of yourself whole? No, because it's not your face. What I mean is the cluster can form together from shards, but those shards, if smart enough, can form with their own shards again. Like, hey, found your arm, take it back, you know? But they're bubbled. They can't reform, nor do they want to. Also, their minds can float when Steven saw them, but the physical gems are welded together so they can't move. I understand that. I'm saying, as an example, a gem could always reform after being shattered if it is lucky enough to find all the pieces. Like the door from Monsters, Inc. All you need is the last piece to work. It's like, yeah, but there's no evidence of that ever happening. The only thing close is Rose putting shards into organic matter like flowers. Also, think of the gem as a brain. If you shatter a brain, it wouldn't go reassemble itself. It's dead. And that is the case for shattered gems. Period. Then how are the shreds still able to communicate in the cluster? The cluster is a Frankenstein creation. Nothing about it is natural. It's like Frankenstein didn't have all his body parts talk to each other like a cluster. I keep going back to the computer example. Frankenstein's monster was organic. That is why he is a metaphor. If you remember the first forming of a gem experiment, they were just confused moving limbs that try to reform, but just staticked out into default parts those shards held info on. Makes sense. By this point, hey Rotor, I'm tired now. I just wanted your opinion on the theory, and now 4 hours later, we're not even talking about diamonds anymore. And then I asked her, would you mind if I use this conversation? It seems so much more lengthy and much more information. And she said, yeah, that's fine. So here we are. So that was the end of the conversation, and it brought up a lot of questions that I think is a good jumping point to like, okay, where do you guys side on this? And where would you want me to expand on? Because she brought up, despite some misinformation, some interesting points. But at the same time, it's like, nowhere closer to figuring out the white diamond was the one who conspired to destroy Pink Diamond. And it also doesn't help her case the fact she was the only diamond who wasn't there in court. I don't know if she was busy taking over another planet, but still, if the criminal was there who shattered my sister, I'd be like, oh, I'm certainly going to court, and I'm going to watch them squirm, and I want to see how they're going to talk their way out of this. And that was the case for Yellow and Blue, but yet White was apparently absent. Maybe she doesn't care. So that brings up a lot of questions. So I'd like to hear what you guys think. What do you think? Did you guys think I was on the right track with the whole maybe Pearl conspired for the sake of Rose and the cause, and then it just blew up in her face? Or do you think that maybe, and here's where I was kind of maybe branching out, but I wasn't too sure about it, that maybe Pink Diamond was in fact a part of Rose's rebellion, but was like a secret operative and was willing to sacrifice herself for the cause, in a way. Because she's dead. She has to be dead. That's period. I don't believe that she is alive. That's my fork in the road. I'm trying to figure out which way to go, what to expand on, and I want to hear what you guys are thinking. Which way should I go forward on? I have also evidence to maybe support the Pink Diamond with Rose Quartz theory when it comes to Rose's flag. And I'll save that for another video. But let me know what you guys think. It was great talking to you, and I'll see you guys later.